Hi, and welcome to another episode of Can You Believe They're Still Doing This Shit?
In 5D. I like it. It was safe, yet still, like, wound inflicting to us. It was good. I like it.
Mildly inflammatory, just like herpes.
I like the self-deprecation. Well done. Eduardo, golf clap for your intro.
Oh, thank you.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
If only I can get that stream deck, I could stop fucking up the opening, because I'm pretty sure the first shot was of all of us just like paused and waiting with no audio.
Huh?
Going? Yeah. But to be fair,
I love mine, man. I don't use it enough, but I love what I can use it for.
Yeah, I will say though, I will say the Joe Rogan podcast, the first season of it, had fucked up audio in the beginning, so
hey,
they're pretty popular now.
What podcast doesn't have fucked up audio at some point in its production?
For a half second, I was hoping he was gonna randomly plug the Joe Rogan podcast, because that guy totally needs us to plug him.
No, I was saying that because they're popular. They're kind of.
I get where it ended up. I was just hoping I knew where it was going.
Okay, so all right.
Why is it blurry?
Why is what blurry?
The YouTube seems to be blurry.
Oh, I think it's just you.
That just might be your refresh rate.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. As long as it's not just me. I don't want it to be me, guys.
So I want to talk about a little bit about some Steam Summer Sale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, this was a bad year for me. I'm trying to be good, and Steam Summer Sale was like, nope.
Nah.
I could have been worse, and I wasn't thinking.
I could have been worse.
See, I was great up until the last 5 minutes when I was like, I'm gonna peruse, and then the timer was like, sales end in 5 minutes. I was like, fuck.
The pressure was on. It got real.
Oh, it got for realsies.
Does everybody want to give away their haul really quick? We'll start with. I mean, it's at least my top left, and I'm talking. Klops, go ahead. What'd you get?
I got GTA with a shark card for $33 instead of the just $20 for it, because I was like, fuck it, I'll get that and I'll be less grindy, because I was grinding on console before. I got Mezzanine, I got Conundrum, I got Monstrous. I got a bunch of games for $2.50. I got like 8 games, and that wasn't including ones that people bought me, like Desolate or Black Mesa.
Oh, Senor Fancy Pants with people buying him games.
So was that it? I don't want to cut you off. You good?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't remember anymore.
So I scored Cuphead. I got Life is Strange. I got Walking Dead Season 3, and I got South Park Fractured But Whole, that would have been a segue, but there's other people. So
okay,
nice.
I do want to note that Life is Strange isn't a stretch for Bonsai, because he loves playing and/or reading what it's like to be a 13-year-old girl.
It's true.
I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, but come on, why you gotta come at me like that?
I'm just saying, because we literally went over this while the summer sale was going on. We were like, oh, so what are you gonna get? And he's like, I think I'm gonna pick up Life is Strange. And I'm like,
I cannot explain my weird fascination with it's not necessarily girls. That's just typically the better stuff that's out there, but it's like slice of life teenagers, like fucking Degrassi. I love that shit. I legit cannot get enough of that. Fucking Hopeless Savages, Lost at Sea, Seconds. I
can explain why.
Teenage high school
why
problems.
He's not allowed within fucking 100 yards of a middle school.
Thanks for that. Classic. That's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Philip, what did you snag during the summer
sale?
So
this was my first summer sale, because I'm fresh to see. I just got my laptop. I'm playing.
He's PC fresh, yo.
Nerd bling. Yeah.
Welcome to the master race.
Totally. I know, right? So I'm slowly building a little library. I got Shell Shock Live a little while ago, but during the Steam sale, I picked up Final Fantasies 3 and 8 for under $13.
So people on this podcast probably don't know this, but the more Phil shows up on here, and the more you all check out Bias Bros Wednesdays at noon, the more you check out Bias Bros, you will find. I always joke that Philip only plays 3 games, but it becomes more and more true as the years go on. Philip plays Pokemon. He plays Final Fantasy. Fuck, I always botch the third one.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts, yes. Sorry, how did I fucking
be of all people? What?
I know. It was just a moment. But yeah, no, he will replay every game in these series, just sort of like, it's like my wife watches Harry Potter. She finishes watching the movies, and then she reads all the books, And then she goes through a period where she's like, God damn it, why isn't there more? And then she goes right back, movies, books,
To be fair, by the time you're done with it, enough time has passed that you're like, what happened in the first book again?
Right. That's Philip. He's like, oh, what happened in Final Fantasy 3 at that one part where that dude said that thing? Guess I need to replay the whole game and beat it on 100%. And he does this. Like, he's literally just texting me on whatever. He's like, I'm in a dilemma. I don't know whether to play Pokemon Silver or Pokemon Go right now, and it's fucking killing me. And I'm like, just play the one where there's both. God damn it. No, I just played that one. Now I need to play one of the ones that's not that one.
Yeah, the entire time I was playing through 5 when I got my laptop, I was just hitting Devin up left and right like, yo, I don't know what jobs to cross, bro.
He's like reliving his fucking elementary school years, but every week.
Every week. And every week I burn through another game.
It's a sick obsession.
Mild, but sick. I'll attend to that.
So if I may, can I use this as our jumping off? You guys want to talk some fractured butthole?
Whoa, relax, man. Not even talk about what games I got. I started this.
I thought you said it. You asked Phil, and you went out of order. God damn it.
I asked
He's barely
Phil.
a person. He's barely a person.
Oh, that's racist.
I didn't say you're barely a person because you're
I know why you're saying it.
I can see your soul.
Oof.
No, so I will admit that the one I'm most excited about is the one I haven't started playing. So, little backstory. I tried to do a full playthrough on the Metagame Network. Shameless plug. Twitch.tv/Metagame Network. Anyways,
I'm on that show. What did you try to play?
I tried to do a full playthrough back when I was still doing the Thursday nights of Bulletstorm.
Oh.
And I hit a fucking wall where at one point, the thing that was supposed to trigger to keep going wouldn't motherfucking trigger. And I tried like almost 45 minutes of restarting and re-jumping and all this shit on my playthrough. I had to abandon it. And then they were like, oh, dude, you know what we're doing? We're going to re-release this fucking game in HD with some better graphics and some
You're like, yeah, you are.
Features. I was like, fuck yeah, bitches, because you still owe me from that bullshit back there. And they're like,
I'm gonna pay you again.
Yeah, they were like, nah, we got you, bro. And then they released it, and it was fucking $60, and I was like, suck my dick. This was like either last year or the year before, and I was like, no, I'm not paying full for a game that I already paid full when it originally came out on the Xbox, and I've already paid for again here on the PC. I'm not paying again.
Right.
So it showed up. I was browsing the Steam Summer Sale because I wasn't gonna buy nothing, and I was like,
seriously, this conversation was so fast because, like he said, he got on with 5 minutes left. I think it was maybe 10 minutes left. He was pinging me like, I ain't gonna get nothing in this sale. I guess I'll look really quick. And literally in like this 10 minutes, he was like, I just bought shit, bro. I was like, what the fuck happened?
So I went in and the Bulletstorm Remastered or HD, I forget what it's fucking called, was only like $5, dude. Because I went on, I clicked on let's see what's under $5, that list, and I was like, all right. So that one was under $5.
Remember me, motherfucker.
And I was like, okay, well,
remember me.
Here I was. I'm like, man, I'm just a couple cards away from this fucking badge, and if I buy another $10, I'll get another chance. Fine, let's see what else is on there. We'll throw it in. And then fucking Watch Dogs 2 was there for super cheap. And then all the DLC for Watch Dogs 2 was super fucking cheap. So I end up going like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. I'll start adding stuff slowly to the cart. And dude, Steam pisses me the fuck off. When you add something to the cart, you can't just go back to the store where you were at and add more shit from that page. You have to go through the whole fucking cycle. And since it was the end of the goddamn sale, Steam was fucking up and being all slow and stupid. So here I am, like, fuck, I'm doing it slowly, and all of a sudden...
Like, no!
All of a sudden, the fucking timer's like, you have a minute. I was like, holy fucking... I'm like, I added so much shit, and then later on... Because once you add shit, it says in your library. One of the last option was like, oh, you could just buy the bundle and we'll charge you for the shit you don't have here. And I was like, you sons of bitches. So I ended up buying Watch Dogs 2. And honest to fucking God, like, I didn't intend to. This was a game that I really liked the first one, but I decided to hold off because I was like, it'll show up in a Humble Bundle eventually.
Then fucking IGN bought him or whoever.
Oh yeah, and who the fuck knows what's gonna happen now? But yeah,
nothing good so far.
So I bought it.
I don't know. Have you seen the book bundle?
Bundles used to happen every Tuesday and Wednesday, and they have not happened every Tuesday and Wednesday.
No, they have like 5 bundles out now, and one of them's about like basically gay porn. It's about a book that bangs the other dude. Like it's getting pretty silly out there.
Huh.
Yeah, Humble Bundle is fucking. God damn it! Buy Humble Bundle.
But so I have been playing the shit out of Watch Dogs 2, and you want to know what the saddest part of it? I'm enjoying everything except the main missions. Like I'm literally sailboat fucking racing in this goddamn game and enjoying that, as opposed to enjoying whatever bullshit story they concocted.
I mean, that's the only reason I wanted Watch Dogs 2 is because it had 4-player co-op, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the multiplayer features, people want to get the fuck out of my game. I swear to God. Because I'll be in the middle of a mission and they'll be like, someone's hacking your data. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Motherfucker can have it. I'm just saying. I just shut the fuck up and let me do. If I wanted to hit multiplayer stuff up, I'd be playing another game that's not a sandbox game. Eat my dick. Right. But anyways... Yeah, so I picked that up. I think I also picked up Sniper Elite 4. I picked that shit up. 3 was great.
That was one that I was going to get, but then I opted out of because I just didn't really have the money at the point. I was like,
enough.
I'm already spending $60. I was
you and I went through number 3.
Yeah, I tried to go through 4. I'll end up picking it up eventually. Now that you have it, I'll pick it up.
I know you don't do sniper games. I get it, big guy. Look at you, Bonsai.
Huh? No, I just never played them.
Yeah.
I don't think
you sort of did. Yeah, you zombie.
Yeah, you played the zombie one.
Was the zombie variation of it? It was the one that it's the only one that our super fan TK fucking just bailed on.
No, he didn't. I didn't let him. Remember? He kept trying, and I was like, "No, motherfucker."
He bailed on a couple of times, and then he came back because it was the only game we were playing for a bit. And Bonsai also kind of. Was like, nah, I'm not back for that.
Yeah, by the end of that run, everyone was like, I'm done with this game.
Dude, I was so fucking
Life's
sick
too
of it.
short to suffer through a game that has no upside.
You know which game
so
was
close.
on sale and I didn't get? I don't regret it though. I'm probably gonna wait till it's on fucking Humble Bundle if ever. Is South Park Fractured But Whole.
It was $20. That's so cheap. It's $60 at GameStop right now. It's $50 used.
Yeah. Fuck GameStop.
I didn't get it.
I did. I picked it up.
That was also your segue, you piece of shit.
No, I know, but your segue was insulting, and fuck you. So, I'm a big fan of South Park Stick of Truth. Really and honestly, my biggest complaint about South Park Stick of Truth was that there wasn't more of it.
It was too short.
I got what I wanted with Fractured But Whole, but I didn't get it the way I wanted it. I wanted...
Oh, now you're a picky bitch.
No, hear me out. I wanted more story. I wanted more depth. I wanted a better combat system. We got the better combat system. It flows a little better. It's still really simple. I mean, honestly, these are not like super hardcore, in-depth Final Fantasy RPGs. And honestly, if you were expecting that out of South Park, this is your fault.
Yep.
Like, you're the dumb one. This is on you. So... it is more in-depth than the first one was. It's a little different, too. It works on a grid system now, which I actually like. I think it complements what they've done really well. I thought we were getting really gypped at first with only 3 classes, but as you go through, you unlock more classes, which is cool. And they're very strongly... I'm not done with the game, but with how far I'm in, there's one class that's always grayed out. I think they kind of tease you into a playthrough plus mode with this last class that you can't do, which... I will probably do eventually. But having said that, they bloated it. They did grindy, run back and forth quests. Like, oh, you need to go here, then go here and get this thing and come back, but the path is blocked in these couple of spots, so you have to take this really long roundabout way to get there, then do that a bunch. And that's... when I say I want more of a game... that's not what I mean. And I think even, like, Borderlands was a little guilty of that in 2 and 3. Don't get me wrong. 2 is way better than 1.
There's no
but
pre-sequel.
It's fucking 3. It's the third game. It's 3, and I don't care what anybody says. I'm not talking chronologically. I'm talking in release order. It's
Okay,
the third one.
fair. That's fine.
It's the third released game.
Just
God
let it
damn
go.
it.
He's just gonna cry.
So, I think a lot of games are guilty of doing that. Let's make it grindy. That when your fans want more, they don't want just time. You want more content. And if you can't do that, we'd honestly take like a game that's a little longer and still solid than a game that's just full of grindy parts. Grindy parts get old. There are games that are made for grinding. Those are called Lego games. Diablo, yes. Quest for More Pants games, the Lego games, Banjo-Kazooie games, mascot platformers. Those are for grinding.
Oh, and there's the whole like crafty system games and stuff like Conan and shit.
Yep.
Sure.
There's people that really like that. There's like my girlfriend loves grinding out games.
But it's also a specific kind of game, and I don't think an RPG like this is the right kind of game for that kind of grind. It's not bad. I'm still loving the game. I'm not getting enough time to play through it. Otherwise, trust me, I would have beaten it in like a fucking weekend. But I'm about 12 hours in. And I mean, like, it's a hard scrub. I don't do that like, oh, I do one pass easy, and then no. I'm fucking doing a hard scrub the first time and getting everything. So I'm getting my fucking money's worth. So, I like it. I do like the game. I think there are a lot of noted improvements over the first. And I like that they didn't go straight to, like, super gross-out humor, which isn't bad. And I mean, the number one thing I ran out of the room and told my wife about when I played the first one was, you get to play a level inside of Mr. Slave's ass, and you got to cut down cum walls. Like, I'm sorry, I was fucking 10 years old, and that was the funniest thing in the fucking world at that point in my life, okay? Not literally 10.
Really? You didn't like the part where you're basically under your dad's balls?
Oh, yeah, no. But that's what I mean. It was a lot of stuff like that, like super... This one has not gone super gross out yet. They go for like subtle and shocking. So like there's literally one part where you're walking, spoiler I guess, fuck you, there's one part where you're walking down an alleyway, and if you like the door you need to go through is here, and if you go a little bit past here, just enough to make the screen scroll over more, Towley is in a corner blowing some dude. And I mean, like, once you walk over there and see them, the audio that plays over everything is just them doing voiceover, like, is it scratchy? Just shut up! Do you not like it when I make eye contact? Like, it's just this really, really graphic verbal dialogue that's happening, and it didn't go immediately, or, like, there's a lot of stuff with your character's butt this time. So, like, a lot of your special abilities, one of them, you put a hose in your butt and it works like an air compressor because your farts are so powerful. Or you put a hamster in your butt and shoot him at electrical stuff, and because the hamster's wrapped in tinfoil, it shorts it.
Okay.
But again, it's not like you're in a guy's ass cutting down cum walls. It's dialed back, and I think it's actually helping. I think with how long it is, if it was just huge gross out after huge gross out, it would really start to seem tedious and dumb. So doing it as like these really small, or like the main kid's dad is a huge stoner to the point where he's like a waste of air, and the mom is a drunken lush, and they're constantly having really uncomfortable arguments in front of the kid all the time. And then once I see him, hey champ, how you doing? And it's super condescending. But one of the things I love that actually adds a lot of balance to the game, at the end of each chapter, you're supposed to go home, right? Because it's the end of the day and you're a kid and you have to go home. It's bedtime. So you go home, you watch your parents have a huge argument, and then one of your quest tasks is to go eat dinner. And you sit at the dinner table alone and eat a meal you don't like, very sadly. And it's just this great, like, super depressing punctuation of like, hey, remember, at the end of all this fucked up stuff, this is still the story of fucking kids, and kids can be sad, and don't do this. It's wrong. It's just this great, like, humanizing moment in the middle of kids playing superheroes, and people die. Like, legitimately, people die because of what's going on, because this is South Park.
Of course.
Right.
And then you still have this, no. I mean, like, sign fell on a guy and crushed him and guts came out. Like, he's dead. That's a dead person.
Right.
So he's dead. So I just love that they have those punctuating moments, and they also put in really like realistic elements. So there's a lot of parts in the game, all your fights happen in the street. Occasionally a car will drive by, so all the kids have to go stand on the sidewalk for a minute, and there's not like a mini game, there's not anything to do. Just a car has to drive by and you have to get out of the road. So the game kind of just stops for a minute while you get out of the road, and the guy yells at you and tells you to stop playing in the street, and then he drives away, and then you go back to doing your fight.
You like that because it reminds you of your childhood.
I mean, kinda.
It's also a comical moment. Like
It is.
I haven't played the Fractured But Whole. I played the first one. I was actually playing Phone Destroyer for a while, and it's something similar like that. Only it's a kind of reverse tower defense. Your guys are the ones that are attacking. That's the funny part about it. But even their mobile game, man, like it's spot on. Like feels like a South Park episode.
Right, and that's like the graphics in this one. Like weirdly, Fractured But Whole just looked like you were playing the cartoon. Somehow they still managed to step that up, and this game looks even better. And the transitions are still clean as fuck. Yeah. You go from a cutscene to gameplay with nothing. It all just feels smooth and natural. It's great. No, it's definitely worth a pickup. I think 60 is a bit much for it. I don't know that I would have been happy paying 60 for a grind fest.
So you got it for 20, being the smart guy.
Picking it up on the summer sale, $20 was the right place. I would honestly go so far. $40 is a much more reasonable price. I think it's enough game and a good enough game for 40. So if your GameStop is selling it used for $40, grab it. Last time I was in my GameStop, it was still 50, and I'm glad I didn't jump on it at 50. Like, I'm really happy with 20. You should be really happy with 30 or 40. It's a game that's worth playing. I just think that price point's
off
a little too high.
Yeah, I agree.
No, that's fair. Also, sorry for the folks. We were gonna talk about Ant-Man, but we're not. Fuck off.
We're not.
None of us have seen it except for Philip and fucking.
So there's this thing
Nobody
that
cares
happened.
about him.
It's called Life, and it fucking hit us all in the face over the weekend.
I was doing
except for Philip, who totally got to go see the movie.
I was doing the fucking Pokemon
I also
Community
worked
Day.
all weekend and did community day.
He still had Life and found the time where like Life was like, but not you three.
Well, see, my girlfriend wasn't available, and my dad wanted to go see it, and I was like, no, we're backlogged. It's okay. We'll go see it on Wednesday.
My mother's coming into town this weekend, so I had to spend last weekend doing all the things I can't do next weekend.
I got a shiny Squirtle with sunglasses.
We did find time to do the Pokemon. I did.
Same.
And I'm not sorry.
I also saw Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
This guy. We're still not talking about it. Moving on. Next topic. Who's got a thing? Eduardo, you had game-related stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a couple game-related stuff, but we're gonna leave it to the end because Klopp's got movie stuff, and we started talking about.
Shouldn't we do games together?
Yeah, I mean, we should.
Games together sounds a little more logical.
Fuck off with your logic and your bullshit.
Okay, Klops, let's talk about movies.
Fuck you, I'm going to talk about a game I beat over the weekend. It was Mezzanine, one of the ones from my wish list. I got it for $2.50. I couldn't say no. Literally, I was like, I can't not have you in my wish.
You tried, and the game was like, no, motherfucker.
Well, because I spent my whole Steam summer sale getting things out on my wish list, which is like 290 items.
I have like 5 in there.
So, like, Mezzanine is a very interesting game. And it's interesting because it has sentient corn, a Soviet robot teddy bear, and a mystery on a farm.
Okay.
I don't want to ruin too much of it, but from start to finish, it had me laughing and having a blast and wanted to continue more. But it's pretty much a collectathon. It's you find thing, put thing there. If you don't know what thing to go there, then try all the things that you have. If you don't have a thing that goes there, go look again.
Sounds like a point-and-click adventure game.
It pretty much is, and it's more of an interactive story and walking simulator than an actual game. I can't really say it's not a game because it's interactive and you're.
But worth $250?
It was totally worth $250. It's $20, not on sale. I would recommend picking it up for $5-10 if you get it down that low, even.
Very saucy.
It's one that was developed by Finish Line Studios, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing more games that they produce. It's got this like almost scary feel, like it's trying to be scary, but I don't know. I never really felt that it was super scary, but definitely sci-fi. It has like this weird kind of 80s B-movie sci-fi kind of theme going on. And I cannot highly recommend it enough for picking it up at a bargain bin. The only problem I really had with the game was that the very end, which is just a button push that goes literally into a transition to a cutscene,
Yeah.
didn't work.
Oh shit.
For me. It worked for everybody else. For some
Alright.
reason, I could not get it to work for me, so I just fucking watched the end on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I did everything in the game and was still happy with it. Everything else worked fine. Just for some reason, when it went to transition, it would just go, boop, blank screen. So, I don't know, maybe it's something in the coding. Maybe I have to uninstall and reinstall the motherfucker, but I'm not going to do it now.
It's almost
verify game integrity?
I did.
Does that even ever fucking do anything?
Actually, I have had that work
Yeah,
a few times. Legitimately, that has totally saved the day a couple of times.
Yeah.
Every time I have to do that, the game goes, no, everything's fine.
No, I mean, I've had other games where that hasn't worked and have other games that has worked. And I did verify it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just something weird with it. But once again, I can't highly recommend that game enough. I look forward to seeing what else they're going to do. I know it's recently going to come out for consoles pretty soon. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe pick up for that.
Yeah.
Or don't. The movies I was going to talk about, because I'll transition to that right away, is Hereditary. Well, this first one. That was the one I was most excited for a couple weeks before we started doing a 3-parter episode
That
of
one.
E3.
So what? I'm so glad you're talking about it because I don't have cable, so I never saw trailers, and then I just heard people like horror movie, Hereditary, good, go. What the fuck is it about?
So I actually didn't hear anything about it either. Like, I don't know. I also don't have cable, but it was one of those ones I was searching through the movies. I was like, what's out in theaters that I haven't seen? I've seen Solo. I've seen all the other ones. I've seen Infinity War.
Right.
And it grabbed me. It's by Studio 42A, which
Can you just show us on a doll where it grabbed you?
where they did It Comes at Night, and I'm really liking this studio because they're starting to do horror. Like, they do horror films, but they're not like the normal horror films. They're more about atmosphere building and a very slow pace. It's not a fast movie going into it. Hereditary is about a family that the mother's mother passes away and weird things start happening. And it is supernatural, whereas the other one isn't supernatural. This one does have a supernatural element.
What other one?
But It Comes at Night.
Oh, okay.
And it actually pulls it off. It's actually really well done with the pacing and the like what's going to happen. And it doesn't really have jump scares. It does kind of towards the end, but they're not really jump scares. They're just like that
I
shadow
appreciate
moment.
any movie bold enough to not bother with fucking jump scares. Knock it off with that shit.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get that way. It's a different kind of horror movie. It's very slow building. So it's like, you know that like scene in every horror movie where you like kind of see behind it? Like that's the only real jump scare they really do. And it's very light. It's not
All right.
It's not heavy-handed at all. And it's about basically a demon lord is really what it's about. And how it gets there from like point A to point B is most of the fun, so I won't ruin it. And they did things that I didn't expect them to do. Like, there's this little girl in there, and she looks like you fucking just, I don't know, hit her in the face with a brick. Or she's a baby, just put it on her face and let it smash. She doesn't look very cute at all. But people in the audience were like, that little girl's so cute. And I'm like, no, she's not. And she's fucking annoying in the movie. She's an annoying character. And they purposely did it because I was like, I wish this bitch was dead. And then they fucking kill her.
Spoilers.
And I was like, what?
Wow.
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah, your review is kind of weird in the sense that like all you're saying is you liked it, but you're not really telling us you liked it just because you liked it because it did the things you expected it to do.
It didn't. It did it because I should say it pulled the unexpected from it. I didn't think they were actually going to kill her. In most horror movies, they don't hold that kind of card.
That's how I kind of feel about A Quiet Place, but it's more of a thriller movie, not necessarily a horror movie. But John Krasinski behind the camera for that one was interesting. The way he told the way he explored his story, it was very not so much jump scary, but very in tune with the message they were trying to tell.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. Though,
because you talking about Hereditary made me had a flashback to when I saw A Quiet Place way back in April.
right,
I
I've
never
seen that
did
one once.
review that one.
I thought we
Like,
did.
I don't know what it's about, so I'm guessing no.
It's because we couldn't really talk about what it was about without giving some major spoilers on it.
Right.
Oh,
Or
okay.
maybe one of us hadn't seen it at the time or
Has
something.
it been long enough
still haven't
where
seen
we
it.
can
No, I
talk
haven't
about
seen
it? Oh, you piece of shit. I haven't seen it, but I don't plan to.
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay, we'll see. That one's also a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it.
There was a point though that I don't know. I didn't really like it towards the end. The ending on that one didn't really happen. But Hereditary is good from start to finish, and it pulled punches that I didn't think they were going to pull, or that they were going to pull. And it's been a really long time since I've seen the movie, so forgive my review. It's only been what, a month?
Yeah,
Something like that.
ish.
Well, there's a lot that's come out in the last month between Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, another little movie that we're not talking about.
We were gonna, then E3 happened.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway, I give this one a solid 4 out of 5. Headless little girls.
Okay.
Oh, even bigger spoiler. Now we know how she dies.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Okay. All right. So you also watched some other stuff, yeah?
I did. I watched 2 foreign movies from. You can find them free on YouTube, by the way. It's Road to Berlin. I'll start off with. It's about a Soviet soldier that gets marked with cowardice because back then and during that war, there was a no step back rule that Stalin put in place. I think it was during 1942.
Sounds about right.
And he's a officer. He's a communications officer, so he's supposed to ride horses to the different front lines and give out the orders that are given to him to give out. But on the way, he gets cut off by the German army and loses his horse. Still has the orders, but retreats. And he was acting "quote unquote" cowardly by another officer. So, Pico, if you want to review, come over here.
Pico will not tolerate cowards.
Apparently
Yeah,
not.
Apparently.
Pico does not tolerate cowards.
So
I pity
they
the
lock
fool.
him in the brig, and they send off word to the Red Tribunal for his trial because it's death penalty for it. And it's their journey, or not them, it's his journey from there to the tribunal. He's accompanied by another guard who is very silent through the whole movie, except for like very few instances in between. And they kind of build a friendship.
And
but-
then they fuck.
Yeah, very slowly with lots of grunting noises.
Okay, y'all sound like gorilla fucking.
That's how it happened, right there.
That's
in
how
the
Russian
movie.
people do it.
100%.
That's how it's done in Wakanda.
Oh,
Done in
boo.
Wakanda.
Oh.
Boo.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda
Or at least one
forever.
movie
No,
until they kill the-
Wakanda for like a half of a movie and then done.
He did.
He did.
I'm good with that.
So they go through they're going through their journey and everything else, and you get this sense through the movie that you are just another cog in the machine, which is something that I think is really unique to their film style that they were using for that Russian film. Whereas like American movies, or specifically war movies, it's like we're the heroes, and like you're always the heroes, it's always revolving around the heroes that you see, and they always feel like they're like triumphant most of the time. Whereas they never feel like they're triumphant. It just feels like they're getting fucked in the ass constantly.
Well, have you paid attention to the history of Russia?
Yes, I know that's very historically accurate. That's why I think the film style of the movie itself is actually really well done. The storyline of the movie is also okay, but it's kind of hard to follow because the subtitles are
I
very
was gonna
quick.
say because it's in Russian.
Because it's very quick.
They do speak pretty quickly.
But it is by the Russian Historical Film Society, so they're as accurately as they can portray this movie. The other movie I was going to talk about, which has a similar feel, is called White Tiger.
Wait, what rating do you give the?
I was going to get to the
last-
ratings to the end of them,
Fine, fine.
but I could give a rating too now. The Road to Berlin, it kind of falls flat in some spaces, but it also picks up in a lot of other places. So I think I'd give it about a 7 out of 10. Mosin Nagats. White Tiger is a story about a man that miraculously survives a tank attack. And he's in a tank. He's in a T-34 Russian, I can't remember the name for the tank, but it's a T-34, and he was burned 90% of his body.
Jeez.
Like, they find him clutched to the wheel, and, like, you just see him, and then he opens his eyes, and you're like, oh, shit, he's alive. And he recovers from it. So he's not actually super disformed or anything, or disfigured. And he kind of inherits this weird tank whisperer ability. Like, he has no memory of who he actually is, like where he came from.
He's one with the
who his
tank.
family was. He can remember all of his like actual skills for like operating the tanks and stuff like that. And he does have this weird tank whisper ability where like he's like, that one was ambushed by a Panzer III that was over in the fucking woods and blah 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 blah. And like he has this weird innate ability. And
It's like Rain Man for tank attacks.
a little bit less than Rain Man. It's hard to explain because it's not really super touched upon in the movie, and it gets really weird. Like he starts worshiping a tank god.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just went from a war movie to a I Heart Huckabees.
Hank Banks got a tanks.
But he's like the only weird real character. Everyone else is, semi-normal for the time being and everything else.
Wait. Does he worship Tomas?
No, he just...
Thomas, the
only
tank
time
engine.
he talks about the tank god is that he's basically a Soviet soldier that sits on a throne of just welded together tank messes, like they're just all destroyed tanks, and he wants him to hunt this white tiger, which was a Tiger III tank, which was in production late in the war and was really good, but they couldn't produce them fast enough. And so it's this cat and mouse game with these two tanks really in this movie, and it's almost sniper-esque.
It kind of reminds me of Enemy at the Gates.
Right.
It's
a lot of that.
That kind of is the feel that I got with it, except for it was less, I guess, Americanized. It was very less Americanized with the feel of it.
I was really glad you didn't say less good, because American at the Gates is dope, and if it's half as good as American... American at the Gates, Enemy at the Gates.
I liked
Good
America
God,
at the
my
Gates.
brain. America at the Gate is terrible movie. No, an Enemy at the Gates, brain not go for it well.
And
But
it kind of had that, but the ending is also very different than what you'd expect.
He was dead the whole time.
Well, you're partially not wrong.
Nice.
But we don't really know.
Oh, does he ascend into tank heaven or something weird like that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We don't know. It was definitely a good ride up until towards the end when it got all weird and philosophical and shit. And I was like,
it's probably because they kept calling it American at the Gates. That's what really killed it.
what? What is happening in this movie? But once again, though, same kind of feel. You're very much part of the machine. You're not a hero. Even the dude that has supernatural abilities, still fucking part of the machine.
But to be fair, here's one thing that I've also noticed, and this is also talking with a coworker of mine who is from that side of the world, is they feel like they're not part of, they're not the hero in the story, and that they've really been kind of screwed. But unfortunately, that also means that they refuse to take responsibility for a bunch of shit, and they kind of go out of the way to get theirs and fuck everybody else. This is coming from the dude that's from Ukraine, so...
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it.
Just saying, like I get it, but it's a weird culture.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened after the collapse of the Soviet Union? So many Soviet arms got sold.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm going to go back to homeland. Might as well sail off all T-34 tanks and MiG missiles.
Missiles.
Anyway, White Tiger, it once again falls flat. I think I'd give it another 7 out of 10 T-34s. Because it's really good up until a certain point, and then it's just like, what the fuck just happened?
Falls flat.
Maybe I'm just not cultured enough or something. I don't fucking know.
Endings are hard.
They can be. And the other best part is you can find them both free on YouTube. That's how I watch them. And they're not shitty quality either. They're not like 300p. They're fucking like 1080.
Oh wow,
That's
so
cool.
you can actually see them. I think they just released it on there.
dope.
Okay. Cool. All right. Now, Bonsai, you want to talk about comics?
I always want to talk about comics. How dare you?
He does always
Reese
wanna talk about
comics.
How dare
But
you.
before
Shit,
let's talk about comics that are being turned into movies. Y'all had some announcements.
Ooh.
Oh,
So yeah, there's two of them that I kind of well, one's a
Well,
TV
one's
show,
kinda
one's
shit.
a movie.
Okay, start with the movie because I actually have a graphic for that one.
I'll let Phil introduce the movie.
so it's official. Jeremy Renner has been cast as Twitch for Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Yeah,
Which is just
Weird.
very strange casting.
Strange. I did a little bit of googling because my bit was Spawn, reading Spawn and knowing what Spawn is. There wasn't too much Twitch, but I remember him from the animated series back on HBO back in the day.
So Sam and Twitch are in a decent amount of the comic.
they are, and they also
Right.
have their own run. It
Right,
was
they got a
short
spin-off.
run. It
Right.
only went on for like a year, but still.
So it's intriguing to think that Twitch will have a role in this new Blumhouse McFarlane Spawn movie.
And so here's what disturbs me about this is I actually saw a quote from Todd McFarlane. And the quote has me very, very scared.
I'm just confused.
So
I'm kinda
first,
confused.
what he said. So keep in mind, this is Todd McFarlane. This is the guy who made Spawn, right? This is
Twitch.
and Twitch,
And
right?
Twitch.
This is
The
guy.
character Twitch, not the website.
And
Right,
in theory,
I was confused.
this is the guy you want to make this movie. Except what he said in his quote was that Twitch gets the most screen time in the movie, which makes me think this is more of a Twitch story. And that Twitch is like Spawn's... Twitch is to Spawn what Lancelot was to King Arthur. So now keep in mind, I'm not done with the series. I can tell you that I have... where is it? I think I have 9 volumes of Spawn.
Huh.
I have 8 volumes, 8 trade paperbacks of Spawn. Loosely, that's like 4 to 6 issues per book. These are smaller, so probably 4 issues. That's 36 issues of Spawn I'm in. And so far, Twitch and Spawn being like Lancelot and Arthur, it's not even close to a thing that's happened.
Yeah.
So the guy who made Spawn apparently doesn't understand Spawn?
Maybe he understands it. Maybe, dude.
Maybe
I'm
he
hoping
wrote
this
it in
is
a
something I
drunken
just
haze.
haven't. I'm hoping it's something I haven't got to yet, but it also seems really weird to start with a premise that's way later on in the series.
He also compared his new Spawn movie to Jaws in the sense that Spawn will not be seen a whole lot, and I'm just wondering, like, since you just said that, if he's not going to be seen a whole lot, and Twitch and Spawn have this Lancelot Arthur-esque relationship, how the fuck does that work then?
Well, again, this is what I was telling Buns. I was like, it feels like what McFarlane wanted to make was a Sam and Twitch movie, but nobody would bankroll that, so he made a Spawn movie, but it's really a Sam and Twitch movie.
Huh.
I mean, this sounds like a better plot for like a horror game, or I could be wrong. You know, we haven't seen anything. They cast Jamie Foxx as Spawn. I'm not a huge Jamie Foxx fan. I'll get that out of the way right now. But I loved Baby Driver, even though he was in it. You know, he's in.
I liked it despite him.
I'm saying I don't like him in the movie, but
Maybe he's trying to pull off something like Dredd, Welcome to America or whatever, where Dredd wasn't portrayed as the hero of the actual comic or anything. He was more of like this fascist villain in the comic.
I think that's
eyes of America.
This is going to be
people.
more like Sam and Twitch are looking into a bunch of murders of like bad people, and then it turns out Spawn is doing it, and then I guess the end sequence will be Spawn fighting a big thing in front of them, and them going like, "You're not so bad," and then it ends. But it's also still the really like, who was it? Eduardo thought that like. So here was Twitch. Eduardo's a fan of Spawn. He's read a good chunk of Spawn, right?
Mhm.
Like in his formative years when he was still like fucking comics. That's what he was reading Spawn when Spawn was relevant.
Right.
And in his mind, he told me that Twitch was more of a Gary Oldman in Fifth Element kind of character.
Well, no. What I mean, no. Sorry. What I meant for that, because what I was talking about is here's the two people that I would cast as Sam and Twitch. Sam and Twitch would be John Goodman, big dude that can really like be super genuine, but can be very passionate and just kind of loud and in your face, the muscle of the group.
That's John Goodman.
Yeah, that's what I'm
100%.
saying.
See what it's like to fuck a stranger in the ass, Larry.
And for Twitch, it would have to be Gary Oldman, because Gary Oldman can pull that really smart, really kind of putting the pieces together, very good character actor, and he's also been shown that he can be kind of wiry. The only other person that I could see pulling it off, just because of how he comes across, is oh my god, he was in Stargate. He also played Ultron.
James Spader.
James Spader. I think James Spader could do a good Twitch as well, but I think James Spader gets a little too philosophical. I think Oldman would do a better job.
I was thinking the friendly counselor from Holes. He was also supposed to be the loser in the original Spider-Man trilogy.
He was the leader. He was supposed to become the leader. He played Mr. Green in the Incredible Hulk. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson. There we go.
There you go. Tim Blake Nelson could totally rock Twitch.
You know what's funny? When I was looking up Twitch earlier on the Googles, on the Googles, saw pictures of Twitch, and I was just like, that looks a lot like Gary Oldman from The Dark Knight, funny enough. And I thought immediately, like, yeah, Gary Oldman could probably pull it off real well, too. So, yeah.
Well, a few years ago. He's a little old for it now.
Yeah.
Really?
But, I mean,
still think so?
What's even weirder is that McFarlane's talking about how Jeremy Renner was his first choice.
Yeah,
he's like,
weird.
Top guy, first guy that came to mind. And I'm like, do you not draw what you see in your head? Or
hey,
how does this comic work for you?
A big drug haze.
Apparently.
So I feel like this Spawn is kind of going in this, not necessarily the same route as Solo. We're in the very early days of pre-production, so until I see some footage and some costume sets, I'm going to hold real judgment. So until I see what Jeremy Renner looks like as Twitch, I'm going to hold reserved judgment, but I will say that it's a very interesting cast call.
It's a weird cast call.
It's a weird cast call for sure.
All right, so the other one I got for you, comic book being turned TV show on the Sci-Fi network. It's not sci-fi anymore, guys. It's Sci-Fi. It's a spelling work. So the Sci-Fi network is doing Deadly Class from Image Comics. Deadly Class is fantastic, though there are pitfalls with reading this comic. I was really disappointed when I first read Deadly Class because of how it was pitched to me. I was told that Deadly Class is Harry Potter, but for a school of assassins.
Yeah, that just makes me go no.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually in. I was like, okay, kind of. It's like Kingsman. You do Harry Potter, but for spies. This is Harry Potter, but for assassins, and set in the 1980s, which I think is like a kind of a better fit for something like this. I was like, okay, let me tell you what you're not going to get out of this comic. Harry Potter at a school for assassins. It's not the case. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't have, like, other than this is a kid going to a school for assassins, it carries none of that. It honestly doesn't even really focus so much on him at the school and training for the school. The comic series is actually mostly about the interpersonal relationships of him and the people he befriends at the school, which, yes, I already talked to my wife about this, who is a junkie for the Potter stuff. It's like, well, the argument can be made that Harry Potter is actually less about the school and more about his adventures. While that aspect is true, Harry Potter really takes a lot into its setting, using the school, using things around the school, using school-themed things
to move the plot along, nonetheless.
It's about a kid at a school. Deadly Class feels more like that's more of the background. The background is that he's at this school, and everything else is really... There's a lot of stuff that takes place not at the school or things that are just, it's more about these people at the school. It's a very different feeling, and I feel like that sells the comic short. Now, having said that, the comic is fantastic. It's very well done, and I think what actually goes to serve it, just like Klopp said, hearing Harry Potter at a school for assassins was an immediate no. Again, that's really not what it's about. It's about a bunch of kids who are being trained to do a very difficult job, and the pitfalls of being this weird outsider at a school for weird outsiders in the early 80s.
Huh.
Late 80s. It's 87, I believe the whole thing takes place in. But you know, it's the end of punk and into this early like 90s punk. It's that transitional phase. It's, you know, hip hop starting to really find its fucking roots and make it stay. And weirdly, those two themes are a thing that come up in this. The people who go to this school, it's not just anybody can go and apply for assassin school. It's not an anime. This is
not Assassination Classroom.
No, absolutely not. It's I guess a quote-unquote real-world look. These are high-ranking mobsters, gang leaders, you know, old-world freaky Russian monks. That's who goes to the school. They're the children of high-ranking mobsters and gang leaders and things like that who are going to learn how to work for their families. Done very underground. The first real big assignment you see the kids take is go kill a homeless person. Go find a homeless person, kill him, and bring back proof that you killed a homeless person. And so these kids are like, you know, like, yeah, I'm at this school, but is this really who I want to be and what I want to do? And, like, of course, the homeless guy they meet talk this big game about how he was this cold-ass motherfucking killer in Nam, but they go get him drunk because they think it'll make it easier. And he ends up spilling his guts about how he was this dude who got pulled into Nam and had to do this hard job, and they end up kind of resonating with that and going, fuck, I really don't want to kill this guy. They fall in with this serial killer, I guess you'd call him, and they piss him off, and a huge chunk of the first 2 or 3 books is all about them dealing with this guy who doesn't go to the school. He's just a dude with a personal grudge against one of these kids for shit that happened away from the school, and now all these assassins have to figure out how to take care of this guy without getting kicked out of assassin school. Like, it's different. It's an interesting take on the whole thing, and I think it works really well. The art is something that you need to get used to. It's a very unique style. I don't want to say bad, but it gets a little hard to follow at points. But they do a good job of distinguishing their characters enough to where you never get lost on who's doing something. You more get lost on what's happening. And like I said at the beginning, this is becoming a series on sci-fi. It's not a trailer, it's not a teaser, it's a first look. And first looks are where you get some real footage along with some behind-the-scenes footage and some people talking about what they were going for. It's being done by the Rousseau brothers, the guys who just worked on Winter Soldier and Infinity War. So really good team who's producing it and making it. The casting looks to be on point. Unfortunately, without a solid trailer, I can't tell you how the show looks because really you're just getting really disconnected scenes because they're trying to show off technical aspects of the show. So I can't really, like, I guess it looks like it's following the plot because a few of the scenes they've done are definitely things I recognize from the book. But I could have said the same thing about Ready Player One from the fucking trailer, and fuck that piece of garbage. It's worthless and it's not worth your goddamn time.
Are we still on this?
Jesus Christ,
so
Still gotta read that book.
Oh, man.
This, at least from what we can tell so far, looks really good. I think it's going to end up turning out to be decent. I'm actually a fan of what a lot of sci-fi has been putting out, and this is one of those ones where, honestly, even if they deviate from the comic, it'll probably still be fine, much like Flash, or if you like Arrow, I guess Arrow, or Supergirl. Deviate from the comic, but they still seem fairly harmless, as long as you're doing a story that focuses more on the people, which I can guarantee you the TV shows do. The TV shows always look at the drama aspect more than the action aspect. As long as you're focusing on that, I actually think it services Deadly Class really well. I think this actually stands to be a really, really big thing for Sci-Fi Channel, and I really urge people to give both the comic and the show a shot. And this isn't one where I'm going to tell you, definitely watch the show or read the comic first to set these expectations. You can probably do them both seamlessly and still walk away with a good product from either one.
Okay, pretty solid then.
I mean, yeah, it sounds a lot better than originally when you were like Harry Potter and Assassination School.
Which is so funny that you're out because of that. It's totally what brought me in, but I can say I'm happy with what I got, and I think if that's not what you're looking for, you can start on a higher bar than what I started out at.
I don't know. I really didn't like Harry Potter, at least the movies. I didn't really read the books. I read a couple of them. And
after 5, those movies get terrible. Starting with 5, like Order of the Phoenix, it just gets awful after that.
I disagree.
Yours is 3, isn't it?
But surprisingly enough, I like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
That one was okay.
Nope.
I liked it.
Won't watch them.
It was okay.
That's
it's
weird.
harmless.
Yeah. So the thing about the Harry Potter movies is that it was really good to see the world come to life. Because honestly, that's what it was all about. Half of the time, I didn't give a shit what Potter was doing. I just wanted to know more about that fucking world. But anyways, we're at the time. We got the
time. It's
right
the times.
quick. All right.
Life's fast when you're rambling on about bullshit.
Right.
About bullshit and Bulletstorm. See what I did there?
I did.
All right. Catch us live on Tuesdays on Metagame Network on Twitch.
Live now, the Mondays at this time.
Also, Mondays,
YouTubes.
7 p.m., we do the live YouTube podcast. You can see us smoking and just generally looking down and around because we forget
He's
the camera.
vaping? Get it right?
But Phil's smoking.
Oh,
I'm
and
smoking a
look at
cigarette.
all the fucks
Oh, I
I
missed Phil
give.
smoking a cigarette. Okay, then they're both smoking and vaping. We cover it. We run the gamut. We got it all.
We run the gamut.
And looking confused. And
Also, check us out on Podbean and iTunes. The new Bias Bros podcast is up there, and that's why we have
Ooh.
Philippe here for the second week.
I don't know who hosts that show, but they sound sexy.
That'd be you and me, champ. We
Oh,
host that
then
show.
they are sexy.
Oh, I thought it was Felipe.
Ooh, it is Felipe. All right, final words, Bonsai.
Ready Player One sucked, and there's nothing I can do to fix that.
This is the second or third week that he does this. All right, Klops.
It's that bad.
Nobody cares. Klops.
I still have to read the book, but I still liked the movie of Ready Player One.
All right, Philippe.
I'm excited that Billy D. Williams is coming back for Star Wars Episode 9.
Hype.
I can't even tell. I don't even remember who that is.
Lando.
Oh.
Ice Cold Colt 45. Malt liquor.
Yeah.
All right, and on that note, bye.
See ya.
Smooches.